I know you just got settled in, but what I'd like you to do is actually stand up. So sorry about that. I promise you it will be worth it. Okay? So everybody stand up. And actually, if you could just close the door back there, that'd be great. Okay, so I just want you to close your eyes for a second. And just everybody take a deep breath. Nice big exhale, another big inhale. Let the day out, another inhale. Out. Some regular breaths with your eyes closed and just, maybe like stretch your back a little bit and just let the day, like whatever happened today, leave it outside the room. Whatever your job search has been up until now, just forget it, leave it outside the room, and just get quiet, get centered, your body, feel the ground, another couple breaths, relax. And when you're ready, and slowly open your eyes. So much better, right? So I always like to say, if you take nothing else away from my talk this evening, is to remember to breathe. Okay? Because do you guys feel the difference, right? Of just taking just a couple of minutes, and it didn't cost you anything. And it was a very, very brief amount of time and energy to get a pretty decent impact and effect. So, because we're like running around, we're a little stressed out. I see you guys were all in a job search, since the talk is staying motivated throughout the job search process. So it's important to just like take a minute, slow down, breathe. Right? Breathe. And I also like to remind people or suggest if you can do that every morning, right? So every morning, the first thing that you do when you get up, 15 minutes. Can't do 15 minutes? Do 5 minutes, okay? Take the time, breathe, maybe sip your coffee, sip your tea, listen to nice music that doesn't have any words. Maybe you have a prayer or a mantra or some affirmations, or just sit quietly with yourself. You've got a gazillion distractions going on out there. You're all trying to find work. It's stressful. We want to be in control of our time and energy, right? We don't want the day and life to take control of us. So that's a really, really good way every day to start your day. It's a nice foundation. Then you can go off, do your day. And when you come back, also check in with yourself, right? So take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you do anything else. When you're coming in and you're going to be in for the evening, I like to actually lay on my back, actually. And there's some scientific things I found out after the fact that I did it that deals with your nervous system. So you lie on your back like on the floor on your back. I put my knees up. Just let the day release. And then that's more of like a processing time, right? So the morning is more of like you're setting the foundation and you're sort of setting your intention and just getting centered. And coming home is like, let me let go of this day. Let me recheck in with myself. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What happened? What do I need to do? Because, the reason why I always start no matter what talk that I'm doing, and I've done, this is my 8th year, actually, speaking at the library. I've done 4 or 5 talks a year every year. So I do this talk, staying motivated throughout the job search process. I do who are you, what are you supposed to be doing with your life? I do authentic branding. I just did another one called Stepping Stones for Success. And I do sometimes at the Yorkville Library as well. But anyway, all of my talks, the main theme is listen to yourself. Know who you are. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because that is going to give you the best information about what decisions to make and what strategies to implement and how to best communicate what your wants, needs, desires, strengths, weaknesses, etc. are. what it is that you should be doing. Maybe you've been doing a job search, which we'll talk about, that really doesn't make any sense. You should actually be doing something completely different. But how would you know that? Because if you're just on automatic pilot, then you're just on automatic pilot, right? So that's why we have to take time to check in with ourselves. Check in with ourselves, check in with ourselves, check in with ourselves. So that's my spiel about that. So yeah, so I've been doing this talk for many years, and I've been a coach for, this is my 11th year as a professional coach. So I actually work with individuals and in groups, helping people figure out who they are, what they're supposed to be doing with their lives. So you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, but you feel like there's something, and I can help you figure what that thing is. If you're just stuck, maybe you're in a job that is okay, but you're still not feeling great, you're not really sure what's going on, I can help you figure out what's making you stuck and get you unstuck. Maybe you're working, it's sort of a crazy time, and you just need more work-life balance or integration or wellness, whatever you want to call it. So I can help you manage sort of personal life and professional life. So it depends, whatever you guys need. But since this is this talk is called Stay Motivated Throughout the Job Search Process, I'm assuming most of you guys are looking for a job at this moment. Is that correct? So how many people are in a job search right now? So pretty much everybody. Okay. And how many people want to be in a job search because they don't really want to be in their current job? Okay, so you're working and you're trying to figure out, I want to do something else. Okay. And so how many people have, those of you who are in transition, how many people have been, like, recently let go or laid off? Oh, okay, quite a few. And how many people, it's been about 6 months or so? Okay, and more than 6 months, and that's okay? Okay, so all evenly just divided.
Freelancer.
So,
Freelancer.
Freelancer, okay, that's a little bit of a different category, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. We'll talk about that a little bit. So what I want you guys to do tonight is, like when you do a refresh button on the computer, let's just do a refresh button on your job search. Okay, let's just forget about everything that you've done up until now, because clearly it hasn't worked, right? Because you wouldn't be here, right? So yeah, so let's just sort of clear the slate and see if we can approach things with a different mindset. And sometimes all it is a different mindset that you need, right? And I find that it's mostly a shift in perspective, a shift in attitude is really, because you guys all know how to get a job, right? I mean, you have a resume, you should have a LinkedIn profile, you send out your application, hopefully get an interview here and there. There's tons of courses here at the library, which is really great, that you can take about, the real nitty-gritty specifics about a job search. So I'm here to talk about some other aspects of a job search, right? The more psychological, energetic, mental, emotional, frustrating part of the job search, right? Not necessarily the technical aspects, but we can talk a little bit about that as well. So first of all, congrats for being here, because that means you're already motivated, because you're taking 2 hours of your time. It is nice and air conditioned in here. And hello everybody on Facebook, whoever's watching at home. So yeah, you're here. You could be a lot of other places, but you're here. And so because you took the time to be here, I really want you to make the most of the time. So what do I mean by that? We're a pretty small group, so we can be fairly interactive. So if you feel like sharing or asking a question, that's fine. But I kind of want you to be interactive with yourself, okay? I want you to really listen to yourself. So as we're talking about things, or things are being brought up, is that making you a little uncomfortable? Is something ringing true for you? Are you getting a little aha? So just pay attention to how you are responding to the information, the discussion, whatever is going on, and be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself. No one else is in your head today, okay, or ever, hopefully. And be honest with yourself about really what's going on with you. Really what's going on with you. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Because otherwise, what's the point, right? If you really want to change, you gotta first of all, figure out what is it that needs to change, right? And it's very, very easy for you to blame the economy or your ex-boss or the sales team or whoever you want to blame. Very, very easy, but I assure you there's some responsibility, if not full responsibility, that you need to take in terms of why you lost the past job or maybe several jobs. Maybe it's been a pattern or a cycle with you. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah, and so there's no silver bullet or easy answer to any of this. I'm not promising you'll get a job tomorrow, but what I really hope is that you will get just maybe some new ideas or really just feel refreshed and ready to move forward and to try some different things and to use your time and energy in a slightly different way to get a better result and to not feel so like, right? Oh, and by the way, I do want to say, if you guys had a bad June was really rough for you, you're not the only one. Okay, how many people had a really hard time in June? Yeah, it was a lot of clients, friends, myself. June was like a very heavy month, and so if you felt like you were like kind of walking through molasses a little bit, or if you didn't get any traction, or if you were just feeling really heavy and sort of hopeless or desperate or on any spectrum, you weren't alone. And so, I just find that sometimes knowing that actually is really helpful. So I just wanted to share that with you. So, so the first thing that I would like you to think about is why you lost the previous job. Why you lost it. Like, be honest with yourself. Why do you think you were laid off or fired? I'm not gonna, if anybody wants to share, that's fine, but I just want you to think about it for yourself. So, and think about how many people here, if you were really honest with yourself, really didn't want to be at that job much longer, right? Be honest. You probably didn't really want to be there. You probably complained about it for a really long time. You probably knew it wasn't a good fit when you took it. You probably, just hung on, but it was a toxic environment. You had a bad boss. You were maybe not 100% qualified and you were faking it. Whatever it is, there's probably a very good reason why you're not there anymore. And what happens is, we often know these things, but just it's human nature, right? We humans don't like change, okay? It takes a lot for us to change. And so what generally happens is if you don't make the changes that you need to because you're too scared or you're too lazy, you get comfortable or whatever, or you think, or if that one change is going to trigger a whole bunch of other changes, and that's terrifying, right? But because you didn't make the change, eventually, guess what happens, okay? Eventually someone's going to make the change for you. Someone's going to make the change for you. So, the universe will give you some time, right? I'd rather have things be on my timetable, but if you really don't make the changes that you need to make, eventually they will be made for you. The company's going to lose a client. It's going to go bankrupt. The company's going to be bought out, and your department's going to be eliminated. They're just going to be doing layoffs and you're on the chopping block. Something's going to happen that may or may not have anything to do with your job performance, but that's going to force you to deal with yourself. So essentially what job loss is, and I have another talk which is pretty much the same talk, is how job loss is a good thing, because it's forcing you to look at yourself and to make the changes that you know that you've been needing to make all along. So even if you loved your job, maybe it was killing your health, right? Maybe it was a toxic environment, or the hours were killing you. It wasn't good for you. Maybe it was taking away from your relationship. So, okay, yeah, maybe you liked your job, but your job wasn't liking you very much, right? And you need to focus on some other things. So job loss is really this great opportunity for personal growth and for aligning yourself, getting yourself back on track with the things that really matter to you. Maybe you've never thought about what even matters to you. Maybe you've never even thought about what you want because, you know, you just ended up in that job, however you ended up in that job, because you need a paycheck, blah, 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 and you sort of go on automatic pilot. But now you're like, oh, I've got all this time, and I got to figure out what the heck I'm doing. So it's forcing you to look at some stuff, right? It's forcing you, how do you use your time? Now you've got all this time for yourself, right? And so, you know, where it's like, what am I going to do next? So here's the thing, like maybe you were in a job that you should have never been in all along, or in industry. So for instance, like if you did sales, and maybe you didn't, you know, you did badly at yourself, and you hate people, probably not the next job that you want to look for, and it should be in sales, right? So, you know, and also conversely, I always like to say, like, if you're like Chatty Cathy and you're a very sociable person and, you know, you've just been doing data entry, like by yourself all day, like that's not the best use of who you are. So, yeah, so I do talk about who are you, what are you supposed to be doing with your life, because it's really about aligning yourself as much as you possibly can. Who you are, what are your strengths, what are you passionate about, what are your interests, and how can you maximize them? Because I'm like sort of jumping all over the place here, but because your time and your energy is your most valuable resource, okay? Your most precious resource. That's it. That's what we got, right? So, you know, when you're 98 or 101 or 120 or however old we're gonna, you know, be these days, and you look back on your life, you're gonna be like, how did I use my time and energy? What did I do? So it really puts things in perspective, and you all have experienced loss in your life, right? And, you know, you'll think about maybe, you know, your own mortality at that moment, but really if you use it as a tool, because it's just inevitable, sorry to break that to you, like someday you will not be here. And think about, like, what do you want your obituary to say? What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? What are the things that you want to have left behind, created, experienced? You know, what did you offer? What is it? You know, so start from there. Like, and I know that's kind of meta and kind of big, and I know you guys just want a job tomorrow. I get it, but remember, we're doing a refresh because this is like we gotta wipe everything clean and figure out, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And we're in a time of really great, tremendous transition and change on every level. On every level, right? You see politically, world politics, right? You see industries that are completely demolished, or, I mean, whether it's the printing and books, that industry, music, all of that. You know, we've got also the new industries popping up that never existed 5 years ago. So we're in this really interesting, dynamic time that, yes, can be scary because it's a lot of unknown, okay? And it's not because the jobs left the country and yada, 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 yada. It's because of this little goofy thing here, okay? Technology has transformed everything. Everything that we do, the way we work, the way we buy things, the way we date, the way we learn about things, I mean, think about every single thing in our lives that has changed because of technology. So that means everything's changing. And we're still sort of in this newish time about it. So we're kind of like on shifting sands. And so really, I used to do this talk, who are you and what are you supposed to be doing with your life? And I did it, the first time I did it in 2002. 16 years ago, okay? It was a year after September 11th, so people were a little, you know, still shaken up or whatever. But people used to always say to me at that time, well, I want to do my dream job, I want to pursue this, that, or the other thing, but I need security. But if you guys can tell me in 2018 what job or industry has security? Anybody? No. You know, so it's really, nobody knows. And if anybody says that they know, they're lying, because nobody really knows what's going on. And so really the only thing that you can do is have security in and of yourself. That is your job right now. Is to figure out how I can create security in and of myself. How do I know who I am? How do I be confident and comfortable in who I am? How do I know what skills, talents, abilities, interests that I want to pursue? How do I know who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing? And even though that opportunity might not exist today, I'm preparing myself for it so that when it does exist, I'm ready. So it's really important. And also, guess what? Taking responsibility for your life means you have more power. That's taking back your power. So yeah, you can blame the economy, and you can blame technology, and Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk, or whoever you want to blame for things changing. You can blame the election, and I know it's very hard right now with the country the way it is. It's really, really hard to think that everything's not crumbling around you, but it's all an opportunity. Like, you have to think of it, this is an opportunity to figure out, well, like, who am I and how am I going to fit myself into this new world that's emerging, essentially, right? And again, humans don't like change. We just, and we don't like the unknown. Oh God, we don't like the unknown. It's even worse for most people. So that's why, getting that security in and of yourself just takes you like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, one foot in front, one day to the next day, one day to the next day. And as long as you're being true to yourself and adjusting yourself and growing yourself and maximizing yourself every day a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, you're going to see the right opportunity. You're going to meet the right person. You're going to be at the right place at the right time. Like trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting that there is a place for you, trusting that there is somebody that will benefit from who you are, that will benefit from your services, that will benefit from your unique combination of skills, abilities, talents, experience, everything. Like every single person in here, you guys all have something unique and special to offer that nobody else has. Like, I know it's hard to get that, but like your combination of things, nobody else has that combination. So, I like to talk about, again, getting a little meta about, like, not only is it your responsibility to take responsibility for your own life and your own happiness, right, which is a good thing because that means you have more power, but I also want you to think about it in a more altruistic sense, in that I want you to take responsibility for our society and the planet and peace. Because think about it, if everybody took responsibility, figured out who they were, what they're supposed to be doing, and did their job, whatever that unique combination of things that is perfect for you to be doing, think about how much more pleasant your subway ride would be. Think about how much less crime there would be. Think about how much less divorce there would be. Okay? So, this is like, it's like the pebble with, the concentric circles around it. Everybody, it spreads out. We all affect each other. Right? And so when you're in a room, when you're at work, and everybody at work is in a good mood, that's, you feel that. If you go to work, and everyone's like horrible and toxic and complaining and miserable, how's that going to make you feel? And that affects us. We're very affected. We're emotionally contagious beings. We're very social creatures. And so, so you want to take responsibility for bringing your good energy to wherever you're at, right? And bringing your enthusiasm to where, look, we all have bad days, things are going to be stressful. I'm not talking about like some perfect world here. But like if you can find something that like 80% suits you, feels right, is good, you're way ahead of the game. So, and this is also going to be insurance for you, right? Talking about security. How is this insurance for you? Guess what? If you take the time, which really is what your job search is right now, is the job search of you, right? If you figure out what you're supposed to be doing and get the right fit, they will do, and they have to do layoffs or something like that, you are going to be the last person they're going to want to have to get rid of, right? They're going to do everything. They're going to try to like somehow keep you, create a new position, or so-and-so's gonna leave, go to another company, and they're gonna remember you because you were that good at what you did, because you were such a good fit, and they know you, and you left, you are who you are, and they know who you are, and therefore it's an easy fit. Does that make sense? So that is also security in another way of like knowing who you are, because when you just are that, that's going to guarantee success, because you're going to be able to maximize your gifts, and people don't want to lose that. People will benefit, and the other thing that I always talk about is that it doesn't matter what that gift is. So I get a lot of people, like, let's say the corporate world or finance or something, they're like, oh, I just want to help people, right? That's a lot of the things that I get. So they always think they have to go to a nonprofit or something like that. You know, okay, fine, you can do the Peace Corps, you can, if you want to be Mother Teresa or the next MLK, maybe that's your job, maybe that is what you're supposed to do, go for it. But, you know, you could be someone, I used to have, and I don't know if there's like some Catholic guilt thing going on, but I used to have a lot of people that came to me sometimes, and they had this desire that they wanted to do good, but they loved fashion, right? And so, I don't know anybody here, I don't see anybody here who is naked, right? And, you know, when you have to go to an interview, you want to look nice, right? When you are getting married, perhaps, or going out on a special occasion, or it's a way to express yourself. Or when it's freezing outside, I am so grateful for my nice big parka, right? So nothing is insignificant. Nothing is insignificant, even though you think that like fashion is not helping people, but it can't. Look, every industry has its morons and the horrible people, and like. But everything serves a purpose. No offense to fashion people, by the way. So, I mean, I love fashion. I mean, who doesn't want to feel good in what they're wearing? And that it actually enhances and it can give you some confidence, right? Or you put on different clothes and you feel a different mood, right? And then that helps you relax, or it helps you communicate better. Nothing's frivolous. Or if you want to be a comedian, right? And maybe your parents, I get this, you know, with a lot of, especially immigrant families, they want them to be professionals, you know, whether it's doctor, lawyer, accountant, all of these kinds of things, because they're practical. I get it. But maybe your talent lies elsewhere, and if you're a stand-up comedian, you know, well, what is the best medicine? Laughter. I mean, so you can heal people, just not with a stethoscope, you know, or surgery or something like that. You know, like it can be all these different forms. And so I don't want you to think that you have to have some like grandiose thing that you should be doing. No, just figure out like on your whatever it is. If you're an accountant, God bless you. The world needs accountants. You know, it might not be exciting or fun, but if you love numbers, if you like that order, if you like figuring out messes and puzzles of things, you know, God bless you. We need people like that. Every business needs an accountant. But pick a business, maybe that sells a product or a service that you like, that you're passionate about, that is interesting to you, that has a company or a culture that you know is your vibe, so that you're around people every day that you like, or that you feel like you're contributing to something positive that's going out in the world. So these can be all different configurations of things, right? But as long as, you know, you're just, you know, and I also say, you know, maybe your passion, maybe your thing is like mountain biking or something like that, which I always give that example, because I still have not really seen a way that you can make a living mountain biking necessarily. I mean, I'm happy to, if anyone wants to share that with me, but like, let's say that's when you feel you're most alive and your best. Don't get a job that makes you work every weekend or 80 hours a week so that you can never go mountain biking. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you have a passion, you have something that you want to develop, something you're working on, side hustle, whatever, and you just need a job, right? that's fine. But don't get a job that prevents you from leading the life that you want to live. So, get a job that's, a lot of times people come to me and because they're stuck and they don't know what they want to do, and they think it's a job change. They think they need to change their job. And a lot of the times, maybe half the time, third of the time, I'm like, keep that job. That's actually a good job for you. That job is actually providing a structure for you. It's providing a good income. It's not sucking the life out of you. Okay? So if it's a job, because what happens is that people who are in a job, they might be bored, or it's easy, or maybe they don't have a lot of work to do, and they feel like they're just like, right? But the beauty of that kind of job, in the right situation, and we talk about all different aspects of your life and what's going on, that could be a perfect opportunity for you to use your excess energy, right? Your excess creativity, mental energy, emotional energy, that's not being sucked out of you at work, to put it towards your art, to put it towards your side business, to go volunteer, right? To do other things that do fulfill you more. So for every single person is going to be a different combination. And that's why you need to know yourself. Right? For some people, they want to have a place to go to every day, 9 to 5. They want that structure. Nothing wrong with it. For some people, you want to be a freelancer, have your own business, be an entrepreneur. And they love the hustle, and it's 24/7, you're on your own schedule, but you really don't have a schedule, but you're working all the time. So every single person needs to decide for themselves what is the optimal kind of scenario. Or maybe it's a part-time job and freelance, or maybe it's, who knows. And maybe, it's a service industry job so that you can write your book. Check your ego at the door. Just because you've done white-collar stuff this whole time doesn't mean that you can't go work at Starbucks or a restaurant because you have something else that you want to pursue. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, your happiness, your well-being, your gifts and talents will benefit not only yourself, but will benefit other people. And so it's your responsibility not only to yourself, but to everybody in this room, and everybody out there, and everybody in the world. Just that. So any questions so far? I'm sort of going off on some tangents here, but any questions, comments? So, yeah, and like I said, we're just living in this really extraordinary time right now, this year especially. It's a lot of change, and so if you can get to the place where you accept and embrace change, you will save yourself a lot of grief and a lot of suffering, okay? Things just have to change, and it's okay. And sometimes we have to sort of, before we can do that, perhaps we need to grieve the past, right? And so what was no longer is. And that's sad, and it's okay to be sad. So another thing that I talk about in all my talks is that most people walk around emotionally constipated. So what I mean by that is, we avoid our feelings at all costs, which is a really bad idea, okay? Because it's going to come out in really other nasty ways, whether it comes out as yelling at someone who doesn't believe the same thing as you do, or blaming somebody else for not being the right color, or it comes out in a disease, or it comes out in your personal relationships. It's going to come out. It's going to affect you if you don't deal with it. And so it's important, sometimes things are sad, endings are sad. They just are. Unless it's a good ending, then you're like, woohoo, good riddance. But it's okay. So just acknowledge it, accept it, grieve it, let it go. It's a process. And then you move on. But if you're constantly kind of clinging to the past, or what was, or what could have been, or whatever, that's preventing you from moving forward. So, and again, because of technology, because so many things, just some things are just never going to be the same. And I know it's hard. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I deal with the same issues everybody else does. But if you can just acknowledge it, accept it, grieve it, if it's something that you're letting go of, if it's a loss, if it's something that you have to let go of in the past, and then you can move forward. A lot of times also, I get folks that have trouble getting a job. Let's say they've gotten laid off, maybe, I mean, usually it's a pattern, and they're still so angry about their boss 2 jobs ago, or a job ago, or, you know, there's still this like resentment or frustration and this injustice, and like, what are you carrying around that you haven't dealt with from the last 2 jobs, 3 jobs ago, and then, you know, it's just something that you're carrying with you, so that it keeps happening, and then it keeps feeding your anger, frustration, or resentment. Bad idea. Okay? So a lot of times, you know, with folks that are in transition, if I get a sense that they haven't actually dealt with what happened, and it's like really bad things happen. People are crappy, you know, like people do horrible things, you know, like people are not nice, I get it. There's politics involved, there's a whole bunch of messy things that can happen. But until you process that and figure out like what happened, did I play a part, did I not play a part, should I have stood up, should I not, did this have anything to do with me? Probably not. And even so, even after you sort of go through all that, digest it, process it, analyze it, which is very healthy, really, I would say 99.99% of the time, it actually doesn't matter what the result is or what actually happened, because you needed to leave. You needed a change. That's just how the change manifested. Get it? Doesn't really matter what the scenario was. You need to process it because you need to process it. But at the end of the day, whatever happened actually doesn't matter, because it was time for you to go. Because there's something else you need to do. Because there's another thing that you need to grow, another muscle that you need to exercise, another, you know, experience that you need to have, different people that you need. Maybe you need to leave New York City. Maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time to move west. Maybe it's time to go south, wherever you want to go. Maybe it's just time to leave. Because, you know, you're just so focused on her, you know, or it's just what you got used to, or you didn't even like look up to see like, oh, there's like all these other possibilities and other totally different opportunities that I could take advantage of now. Maybe it is time to start your own business, you know? So, yeah. So, I don't know, I'm just quick. Okay, so of course, I'm going all out of order, but, you know, insanity, you know, there's the definition of insanity is, you know, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So what have you been doing? What has been your pattern? What's been the pattern? Because the pattern is going to keep repeating also until you get the lesson. You know the saying, like, same boyfriend, different clothes? Same job, different company, different boss? That's the same. So what's been your pattern? What is it that you haven't learned the lesson? Right? So yeah, any questions, comments? Not really what you expected, I'm sure. But anyway, it's good anyway, right? So yeah, okay, so most of the time, the people that I meet that are in transition, the first part of your job search is you, right? It's figuring out what happened in the past, who are you, what do you want to be doing next? Start from there, okay? And then we can sort of, oh, this is the other thing I want to remind you, because this is also what happened. This happened, these classes really were crazy, like in the end of 2008. Remember the end of 2008? When a lot of things started changing and the recession and all of that. I mean, people were, now someone like me, I've always been interested in personal growth, and I always wanted to use my talent. You know, this is sort of this is the way I exist, right? Most people don't like to look at themselves or think about personal growth or anything. They just want their job, they just want to go on with their life. And that recession kicked everybody in the butt. Because the other thing is that you are not your job title. You are not your bank account, right? You are not your paycheck. So what happens when people lose their jobs, and especially that period of time, people were freaked out because they didn't know who they were without being VP of XYZ, without making a 6-figure salary, right? You know, without the company that they worked at for 15 years. They didn't know who they were. So that's also why it's just really important to figure this stuff out, so that the external, whatever external things are going on, it doesn't really affect who you are and how you feel about yourself. So whether you have a paycheck coming in or not coming in, that shouldn't affect your sense of self and your worthiness and your ability to exist. And P.S. to have fun. So I know also a lot of people who are in transition, it's like you don't feel like you're allowed to enjoy yourself until you get a job. And that's a bad idea also. Okay? Because A, who wants to hire someone that's miserable? And that hasn't had any fun in a long time. And that hasn't taken care of themselves. So that is part of your job search. And so like I was saying before, sometimes, you know, the job, maybe you like the job or whatever, but it was killing you. You know, it didn't give you time to exercise. It didn't give you time to reflect on what are you doing and how you're using your time. It didn't give you time to meet with friends and develop relationships, right? So these are all things that now you have the opportunity to do, because guess what? And I know this is the opposite of what most people say, but looking for a job is not a full-time job, in the sense that you cannot be at your computer for 8 hours a day looking for a job. Like, that's the biggest waste of time. So you want to maximize your time. So you want to use the best hours for you. Maybe it's the first morning hours, maybe it's the afternoon, maybe it's the middle of the night. It doesn't really matter. Use your best 4 hours. It's probably the where you can maximize. Do your job search. Fine. Look for ads, do your networking calls, have an interview on the phone, whatever you need to do. The rest of the time is yours to work on yourself, to do all those things that you couldn't do when you were working, right? To make yourself better, right? To let yourself learn and grow, maybe take a class, maybe go to the gym. Now, if you go to the gym, be careful, because I've also had clients, they go to the gym every day for like 8 hours. Also not good.
I promise I won't do that.
You know, so that's also like avoidance and distraction, right? Okay, so you don't go from one extreme to the other. But you want to use your time because it's precious time, right? Because once you do get a job, you're not going to have that time anymore, right? So especially since it's the summer, there's plenty of great things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money either, right? So obviously finances are an issue. But yeah, so you want to not feel guilty about any of that, and I know that it's really hard if you're living with someone and they're like down your neck, like, so what'd you do today? How many applications did you get out? How's your job search going? Like, when you have that going on, you know, figure out a way to appease that person because they don't want to hear that you went to the beach, maybe. But guess what? I'm telling you as a coach that might be the thing that will actually help you be better in looking for your job, but they're not going to get that because they didn't hear this talk, okay? Figure out a way to manage that. And don't let other people's, you know, opinions of how your job search should be, you know, or what you should be doing dictate anything. Because you know you, and you know where you're at. Okay, and they have their own story, and they have their own issues, and who knows what's going on with them. Don't let them put their stuff on you. Okay. So yeah, and so the other thing is, like, once you take that break, take time to reflect, focus on yourself, figure out what you want to look for. We'll talk about some things to look for, but then just working on those other things to just make yourself feel better. You're gonna be you're gonna have that much more enthusiasm, right? Because if you figure out something that you want, you're gonna be excited about that. And if you've been taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, you're gonna have the energy and enthusiasm to really pursue it, and that's gonna come across, right? It's gonna come across even in your emails, even if you're not in front of someone, but certainly if you get in front of someone, right? Whether it's in an interview situation or it's in some networking situation, because you're going to be clear about what it is that you're looking for, and you're going to be feeling good about yourself, right? Think about, like, put yourself in a hiring manager's position, or put yourself in someone's shoes if they're meeting you for the first time, and you know what that, oh yeah, like, you know what you want to do, and you're excited about it, and you know, he looks good, he seems healthy, you know, like, good. Yeah, this is a good person, I wanna help this person. Or I wanna hire this person. Or I wanna introduce this person to someone that I know that could help you. So, so it's important to do that. It's important to take care of yourself and to use your time in a way that isn't just wasting time. So, which leads me to job fairs. Okay, so I don't know if there are still any job fairs. Have you guys gone to job fairs? Are they still doing them?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many have had good results from job fairs? No hands, Facebook, no hands, okay? So a job fair is, you know, basically like, you know, killing trees, in my opinion. So, like, you know, you want to, here's the thing about a job fair. So a job fair, I get it. If you have to like show that you've done something in your job search or whatever, it makes you feel like you've done something, but you really haven't done anything unless you use it appropriately. And what I mean by that is research the jobs ahead of time, research the companies that are going to be there ahead of time, figure out what you might want to target, figure out your little pitch, and just be strategic about it. Just be strategic about it. Don't just go there being like, I'm at a job fair, here's all my resume. Like, there's no strategy, there's no enthusiasm, there's nothing. What do you want to do? Do you want to work in a service job? Do you want to work in a sales job? Do you want to do customer service on a phone, or do you want to do customer service in a hospitality situation? What do you want to do? Figure it out first before you go, and then target. And then you'll be able to speak much better to whatever it is that you're looking for. It's the other thing, I think a better thing to do than job fairs is, you know, we live in New York City. There are tons of conferences and panel discussions and professional associations. So whatever your field is, whatever world you want to be in, get on some mailing lists, figure out when there's some conferences, industry events, associations, and go to them. And if they cost money, see if you can volunteer. Okay, I don't work for a Fortune 500 company, and every year, this is my 8th year working the Working Mother Media does a Fortune 100 conference every year for multicultural women and for Work Life, 2 conferences, and I have volunteered every year, and now I'm coaching for them and facilitating for them. I just started volunteering because there was no other way that I was going to get in. I was going to pay $1,500 away because it was a corporate, you know, rate thing. Show up, be a good volunteer, see if you can help out, get them to know you. You want people to get to know you, right? You want to be able to shine in the situation. You want to learn. And maybe you don't necessarily want to work for the people that do the conference, but you're going to be exposed to lots of different people's ideas and other companies at the conference that might give you some ideas, or you might learn some inside industry things. And it's always about meeting people. And what's great about conferences, associations, and those types of events is that usually like pretty high level people are there, and they're always generally willing to talk to you after. And so if you can make a good impression on one of those folks, make sure you always get a card if you can, and link in with them. And here's the thing about LinkedIn. You can link in with me, but I do not link in with anyone that does not send me a note and saying why you want to link in with me, where you met me, or give me something. Okay? So, especially with, like, if you see someone on a panel or something like that, send it. I really appreciated what you said about XYZ. Thanks so much for sharing your time at this panel today. It was great to meet you after, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to stay connected. You know, and then depending on whatever situations, you might want to sort of see who might be hiring, But it's really about establishing a relationship and making that connection. And then maybe there's a recruiter, maybe there's a position in that company, and when someone goes on LinkedIn, which they will see if you're connected to that person. Oh, she's connected to so-and-so. Right? So be your own advocate, right? You've got to be your own recruiter. And people hire people. So yes, you've got the HR black hole submission machine, which is never fun, right? And a lot of, you gotta do what you gotta do, but you want a human being to get you, to know you, to take your resume and put it in front of another human being, right? And say, look at this person, talk to this person, check this person out, right? You want humans to do stuff for you, not machines, as much as you can. So, and another thing, another thing that you can think about is again, like target, maybe it's not always about what job listings there are. Not always about that. Think about where you want to work, and then go after that and see if they have any job listings. How about that? Okay? Flip that. Don't be like, oh, whatever, I'll take whatever's open. Let me just see. And like, no, you decide what you want and go after it. What product, service, industry, brand, what do you like? Go see what's going on over there. See if they're hiring. See what kind of jobs they even have in that thing. Do you qualify for any of them? If so, what would you have to do? Who would you have to meet? What do you have to do to get in there? Because, that seems like a really cool place. Or I've always wanted to work for XYZ. So a lot of companies now are, the Muse, which is a website that I work with. Do you guys know about the Muse? Mm-hmm. So they have very nice job listings because they have people talking who work there, and you get to see pictures and video, but so you get a feel for the place, right? And you can usually tell stuff with video. You probably get a better vibe of that, but because just on paper, just like the boyfriend, right? You can be great on paper, but in reality, not so great, right? So you want to get a vibe, And remember, when you do get to the place where you are meeting people, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. Remember, it's your time and your energy. You're going to be spending at least 40 hours a week plus commute time, probably more. How are you using your time and your energy? Who are you using that time and energy with? What are you doing with that time and energy? Okay? Really important that you think about this. Remember, you are in control. You have more power and control than you think you do. You really do. And I know we're like brainwashed and we're taught, everything is done to take that away from us. Right? Whether it's advertising or the talking heads or social media or whatever, it's just taking us outside of ourselves and giving our power and our thoughts and our feelings to everybody else, telling us who we should be and what we should do and what we should think and what we should buy. Stop it. Take that back. You gotta own that. Okay, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What do you want? What are you gonna do to go after it? Yeah. That's very quiet. Any questions? Comments? Yes. Question?
Yes. Let's say, I would love to hear your take. Let's say that you have been doing a job and then you realize, let's say you've been doing this job for several years and you realize that the job or the industry that calls to you is completely different.
You mean now it's changing into something different, or
No. That the interest you have is different.
Oh, no, your interest changed. Okay.
Yeah, that your interest has changed, and the industry you really want to work in is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
When you're approaching that industry, when you're approaching the companies in that industry, how do you sell yourself when you are not and when you're too old to be coming in at an entry-level position? How do you sell yourself to that company?
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say somebody's been working in my own case, working in social work recently. But the place I'd really like to be is in the film industry, which I have a limited amount of experience in broadcasting. But going after that and selling myself is difficult because I'm at an age where I can't be going in for an entry-level job.
What part of the entertainment film industry do you want to be in? What part of it?
I'm not exactly sure. I'd like to do something. I love festivals. I love film festivals and volunteering. When you're talking about panels and conferences, a lot of, for me, documentaries are a big thing. But I don't exactly know what position I'm going after. That's part of the problem. But that area.
So have you like volunteered for like Tribeca Film Festival?
I volunteered for Doc NYC, which is
Have you talked to people that are doing that work?
Yeah, I talk to people occasionally who are doing that work, and some of them say they'll pick up a camera, others say go after production jobs. A lot of people say like the one way to get in is editing, which is something I do. I do video editing, so that's one thing.
So I mean, so it's just a matter of, well, obviously you're a social worker, so you're good talking to people. So you obviously can talk to people and explain things, and you have a lot of patience, and you're a good listener. So those are all transferable skills, pretty much in any industry. But I would say, be realistic, because the film industry, again, hard for anyone to break in, even if you're young, and even the young ones, they have like trust funds, and then they can work for free. It's true. I'm not. I mean, So be realistic, first of all, about what it is that you want to do. I don't color. I'm a pretty practical person, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. But the beauty of right now is that there's so many outlets for content, right? For content creation and smaller production companies. So perhaps you can find a production company that you can talk to, and that would be going to, I know there's like women in film. I mean, I'm sure there's like professional organizations that you can go, talk to people. And you might have to work for free for a bit, or, I mean, I get the sense though that you want to create your own film. Is that really what you want to do?
To some degree.
Yeah.
I enjoy also, but I also enjoy helping to market people's work who I really respect.
Okay, I'm just gonna plan to see what is the story that you want to tell. What is the film that you want to make? Because that's what you really want, I think. And you're sort of skirting around it a little bit. So you can make a film tomorrow if you wanted to, with this technology that we have. In a sense, you could. So you might want to start there. And then have that, because if that really is your passion, you're going to get the most fulfillment out of it. And the job, see what happens is, if you're sort of good at your job and you don't really like it or don't care so much about it anymore, if you can again take some of that excess creative mental energy and put it towards something that you are passionate about, great, that job keeps you going so you can do your passion project thing. And then maybe at some point that passion project brings you to that new place. So that you could just be in an in-between kind of place, because then that passion project becomes your calling card. And yeah, you don't have any experience in the film industry, but you just made this film. And if it's documentaries, that means you have something to say, you have a story to tell. And it doesn't matter if you're in the film industry or not, if the story is compelling and it's told well, who cares? They don't care if you've done anything else.
Well, I was gonna say, if this helps you, maybe you might, like what you're saying, like join an association or join a group. Because I worked on Wall Street for many years, and then I went to a fintech firm, and then I ended up losing my job. And it was like kind of like what she said. I was like, oh my god, this is horrible, whatever. But then one of my friends was like, well, this is kind of, because I'd gotten laid off from a previous like Wall Street firm. Although that was kind of a weird, good experience because they did it in such a nice way, and I had like severance.
Like la la la.
Yeah, it was. It was like la la la, and then somebody was like, oh, that, I really, and I got my second job simply because I mean, you're always so much fun to hang out with the conferences. It's literally what they said. So they hired me. They didn't know what they wanted me to do. They created a job for me, and then I ended up getting laid off later on.
Okay, but
so what happened was, Amanda was like, well, you went straight from one job to another. What do you like? And I was like, well, actually, I like whiskey. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, so I like history and I like science. So like, whatever. He was like, why don't you do something with whiskey? And I was like, that's insane, right? But I went to Scotland, and I went research, and people I know were trying to help me, and everyone was like, whatever. But then one day somebody from my high school said, there is something called the Bartenders Guild, and you should join it. So I was like, all right, whatever, join. And I go, and there's like a trip, right? It's a little crazy, so I go on the trip. I don't know anybody there, and there's all these people that have been working in the service industry. And so the first thing they asked me is where I bartend, and I'm like, I'm a bartender, right? But this one guy was like, well, you know, what is she doing? And I learned this new phrase, they're like, she's a day walker, right? Like a 9 to 5. So I was like, oh, you know, and he was like, well, don't be mean. She's, whatever, she's trying to learn. So anyway, like, previous to that, I was trying to do all this research, like, whatever, I went to Scotland. But they were actually really nice about the fact that I knew nothing about anything, about the service industry, but whatever. And then I ended up, like, doing, like what you said, I ended up volunteering and a lot of whatever. I started the business, and now, like, I mean, now I'm actually back as a day walker because it's been built. But that being said, what I ended up doing the interim, which everybody thought was like crazy, like everybody on both sides, was he had a podcast, and I was marketing back then. And it turned out that he didn't have a business back then. Everything that I knew, like Word, Excel, and all that, like he didn't have. So for like 2.5 years, people were like, what do you do? And I was like, I do marketing for a bartender. And they're like, what? but that's what I mean. It was complete like left field.
But,
like, you know.
and thank you for sharing that. What was your name?
Oh, Hazel.
Hazel.
Yeah.
So, were you finished?
Oh yeah, no, but I was just going to your point in terms of like people.
Thank you for being like a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
So the irony of it, you know, to go back to like what yours for, the irony of it is like I circled back to more of the Wall Street, and so I'm back to whatever. But I was like, oh, people suck here. Like I just like it's like because I work like, you know, like 20 hours a day pretty much. So
yeah. So, but you see the possibility now of what you can do.
do it. It's just
And because you followed what was interesting and fun, and you just followed that. And it really, you know, I know it's very cliche, but it, you know, really is about the journey. It's not so much about the destination. And so everything that you experienced in those past few years, and like, how interesting was that? You know, how much did you learn about yourself?
I'm trying to come back around full circle. It's kind of hard, but yeah.
But clearly, you have been able to figure it out as you go along. And so, well, we can figure there might be something else that's blocking you.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So you're trying to get back into Wall Street, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm trying to get back to just do whiskey full time.
Oh,
Just
okay.
do the whole like
Yeah.
you know parts. One of the like you were talking about the passions. One of the passion projects I had was because I found out there was no books on rye whiskey, and I didn't. There's a whole thing with a new category in New York State, and I was like, I want to write a book on it. I have to figure that out.
So, but you have enough information, you have enough evidence that if you pursue things in a certain way, stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the gentleman who's interested in film work, but not sure what to do, there's plenty of organizations that you can network with, like the Dramatist Guild, the Producers Guild, you know, to really put out your network and go to their functions and talk to people who are directly involved with different marketing. Find out there are different guilds that are in marketing. You know, go there. Just volunteering for like a film forum or something like that doesn't get you very far. You just meet people who sort of like it, but you don't know industry people. You need to be with them. And you can do that in your spare time while you still have a full-time job. They have events like this between 6 and 7. You know, those are the people you got to get to see and to figure out what you want and where you want to go.
Thank you. I'd like to hear your tips for how to go into interviews or go into potential new opportunities without carrying some of the bag. And I appreciate the suggestion to take care of yourself and so forth, but if you're coming from a place of either being laid off or in a place where you know you have to leave your job, which is my situation, I want to know how to come into the new opportunity with a positive attitude so that they're not seeing that like feeling of, wow, I'm not wanted or it didn't work out in the last job.
So yeah, so it's sort of like just putting like a refresh button on. Like, do you understand why are you ready to leave the job that you're in, or you're kind of like being forced to leave?
Probably a little both.
So first of all, you would need to get to the place where you're ready to leave. Like you're accepting the fact that that you're leaving? Because it sounds like you're still like,
No, I think I'm accepting that I'm going to leave. I recognize that I sort of reached where I'm gonna reach in my job, and I need a new opportunity.
so it's so you're not being pushed out necessarily, it's because you can't really grow as much.
Well, yeah, I was told I wasn't gonna be promoted,
Okay.
because I pursued a certain path, and they just said, we're not gonna grow that part of the business. And so there's no upward place
So
for you
it
to go.
seems like to me you're internalizing that. Is it that you did something wrong or there's something wrong with you?
It kind of feels that way, yeah.
So I know I don't mean to be like that, but that's what you have to work on. Like, you had this great experience, you learned as much as you could, and that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you that they decided not to grow that part of the business. It has nothing to do with you. So you can't let that impact your own sense of self and self-worth and your own value and whatever you're going to bring to the next company. It has nothing to do with you. So, I would give you some journaling exercises, and like, it literally is like spending time with yourself and like just allowing yourself to sort of process that and to get to a place where you're like, that had nothing to do with me. Maybe it's just me saying that had nothing to do, maybe you just need an outside person to say it. That has nothing to do with who you are, your value as an employee, or what you bring to the table or anything. They didn't want to grow that part of the business. That, remember we were talking about before, all like the nonsense, like the end of the day, whatever you process, it actually doesn't matter. The reason doesn't matter, it just means that you have to move on. So don't get caught up in that. Just be like, okay, now it's just time for me to do something else. That's it. You know, you're done. That served its purpose. That job served its purpose, and now you're moving on. And what did you learn? You can write, you can journal, what did I learn about myself? What did I learn about the industry? Blah, blah, blah. And what do I want? What kind of opportunities do I want in the next job? And make sure writing things down is really powerful, you guys. So if you don't journal already, make sure you have a journal. And journaling doesn't mean this on a laptop. Journaling means this. Is there something that happens very organically when you do that? Write down your ideal job description. Write down the things that you're feeling a little like unsure about, your confidence is knocked a little bit, or you're sort of similar to this young lady. Write down what are your most, your proudest achievements and accomplishments, either in the past job or, the past few jobs. Just so you can see in black and white that you've thought about it, you've written it down, and you're like, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, I did this. And this is not about a resume, right? This is about you just owning who you are and what you've done. And feeling good about it. Yes?
Can you go into more depth of why the journaling works? Because I've heard a lot about it, but I've never known, they say to journal, but I've never understood why.
So I do a lot of things that I do a lot of things that feel natural to me, and they work, and I have no idea why, and then I find out some guys in white coats that are scientists did studies, and they figure out why it works. So there is something about the synapses in your brain and like your physiology, why it works. Don't ask me to explain it well, but it does. And I'm the type of person that doesn't really need to know the explanations. I just need to know it works. If you're the person that needs, you could probably Google why does journaling work, and I'm sure you'll get some answers. Because there have been studies about it. Just like that thing, I would just lay on my back, and then I did this like Alexander technique. She's like, oh yeah, well, because then like there was a whole scientific explanation of why laying on your back was a good thing. I was like, I just feel good. Or if you like read, gets me so crazy, like Ariana Huffington, who's great because she's sort of changing wellness in the workplace and all that. She had a book called Thrive a couple of years ago, and do you guys know Ariana Huffington and her whole Thrive for like global, all that? It's like, duh! Like a lot of this stuff is like, yeah, you need sleep, duh. Yeah, you should take breaks. Yeah, but it's like, until we had some scientific study, blah, 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 okay, fine, now it's accepted. So now corporations will maybe pay attention, so it's kind of ridiculous. But if you think about it, it's like the typing, it's a different, you're using different pathways, and there's also a machine, it's not organic, right? At least, especially if you use a pencil or a pen, there's something about it. So I don't know how to explain it, sorry. But it works. So yeah, and by the way, you guys, like I said in the morning, taking that time to really check in with yourself. Journaling is a really great way to have conversations with yourself. So your journal becomes like your own best friend, and you can work out your thoughts and your feelings about things, right? No one has to read it, but it helps you process your own stuff and get to know yourself better. Because I know a lot of people, I have a lot of people that come to me, and they don't even know what they like. They don't even know what they're passionate about. Because if you led a whole life where you let your parents influence you, your culture influence you, your peers influence you, you know, you just did things sort of blindly, you don't even know who you are, what you like. So it's all, I always use like the Julia Roberts in that Runaway Bride movie. You know, she marries all the different guys, and at the end of the movie she's eating all different kinds of eggs, like hard-boiled eggs, eggs Benedict, scrambled eggs, and Richard goes like, what are you doing? She's like, I realized I don't know how I like my eggs. Because when I was with Jim, he liked them scrambled, so I ate them scrambled. When I was with, you know, Bob, he liked them over easy. Like, she didn't know how she liked her eggs. So date yourself, okay? Date yourself, spend quality time with yourself. What do you like? What movies do you like to go? You get to pick your own movie, right? You go, you know, now you can go, it's nice weather, so you can go spend time in the park by yourself. You know, go to the beach. That's a good time to do the reflection and the journaling, and to just be in so that you can listen to your own thoughts and your own feelings. And be careful with this thing, okay? the plethora of distractions, right? This is a tool, and it can also, what is it, a tool? It's like a hammer could be, you know, a tool or a weapon, right? So you got to be very, very careful, and especially with social media. Don't think everyone's having a great life. You're not. Okay? Everyone is having a hard time some days, okay? You're only posting the great, shiny, happy stuff that's framed, okay? That you frame the picture, you frame the lighting, you frame the moment, okay? Like, don't let this affect you at all, you know, and think that everybody's having great, yeah, some people, you know, look, we're all struggling in our own ways. And so don't be careful with that. And just also be careful, you know, not going down rabbit holes, you know, sucking your time. That you want to be using this time in a more productive way for yourself, and don't get sucked into like Candy Crush and all the political stuff. That's, you know. So be very, very careful about that. Any other questions? Because we don't have too much time left yet.
Yeah. So my question is like when we are doing the briefing earlier, it helps a lot. I'm like doing a lot of interviews like with maybe 4 or 5 people at the same time, like maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes each. I'm usually doing good, like first, second. I mean, like people, you know, when I got to the third person, because they don't have any break. I feel very tired, and then I did not perform as well. My question for you is, like, maybe breathing only take a few minutes, then you can recharge yourself, refresh. So is it okay? Sometimes I ask like, to
Can you take a bathroom break? You just like go to the bathroom, like do like a couple minutes there, just close your eyes, take a couple breaths, feel your feet on the ground. Maybe you want to like touch your heart, you know, feel your heartbeat, just like get you like reconnected to yourself, get you back in your body.
Sometimes, I mean, they finish one person,
And
and next person just take you to the next office. And sometimes it's very impolite, say, oh, can I?
Well, so, I know, these things can be awkward, but what I would say is that if you create a practice for yourself when you're not interviewing, then you'll be, it's like a muscle, right? So you'll just be in better shape. So if you develop that on a daily basis, not in an interview situation, you might go into that situation with more energy and more stamina. Does that make sense?
In Buddhism, there's such a thing as a walking meditation. So if you're walking there, you can do intentional breathing on the way.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you. So, okay, so just some other tips about, you know, some just day-to-day things. I always like to suggest, you know, if you figure out kind of where you want to be, use the technique of visualization. That's one that you can always use. So if you know the company or the brand, visualize the brand. You can also make like a little vision board of it, put it up. But look, Olympic athletes use that technique all the time. And so you want to picture yourself, feel it, breathe it, picture yourself in that environment. You can also like go show up where those people hang out, right? So go have lunch in that neighborhood where all those people are. So you actually get the vibe as if you were already working there. What is that going to feel like? Dress the way you want to be dressing in that new scenario. So you just kind of like use those tools to get you to feel it. Yeah. And some other things is you definitely want to socialize with people, so you don't want to isolate too much. I know when you're the only person that's looking for jobs, sometimes it's hard. Just be careful who you're socializing with. You want to mix it up with some people who understand what it's like to be in a job search. You don't want them to be like negative Nellies bringing you down and complaining, right? Don't be around negative people, right? And then mix it up with some people who are working but who aren't going to nag you and be like, so did you get a job yet? Or how many resumes did you send out? Don't be with those people. So be careful who you socialize with, but try to socialize in a healthy people in a good way. So as we just wrap up here, so I just want to remind you, so in conclusion, how losing a job is a good thing. 1, job loss gives you the opportunity to make the career or work-life balance change that you most likely have been in need of all along, but were too afraid, lazy, or apathetic to do anything about. Okay? What is the purpose of work for you? Self-examination. 2, it forces you to step out of your comfort zone. So all of these things are going to put you, like our friend Hazel here, in new environments, new adventures, meeting new people. That's a good thing, okay? Life's a journey, enjoy it. 3, it makes you stronger, right? Think about another time in your life when you had some challenge or difficulty that you got through. And you can say, wow, yeah, I got through that. Like, I'm stronger as a result of being through that. So no matter what you're going through now, you can handle it and you will be stronger and better when you get through it. 4, recognize there is risk in everything. So no matter what you do, there's going to be risk, okay? So figure out what's the thing that's going to give you the most security, internal security, okay? Internal security. And so that might look like stepping into some crazy scenario that you've never put yourself in, but actually that's bringing you closer to yourself, which means it's actually making you more secure, okay? And getting a full-time job is not necessarily a secure thing either, because who knows what's going to happen with the P&L sheet and you're off. You have no control over it. So, and having your own business, again, no security there. Nothing is secure, okay? So just get over it. 5, stay true to who you are, what you love, because automatically, inherently reduces the chance of you losing any jobs in the future. Automatically, you be who you are, people try to help you. They try to bring you with them, okay? And 6, passion is the source of your prosperity. And so I have a little doodad here for you to remind you of this, and to remind you, in addition to my little evaluation thing, so you can take that. But, to remind you that if you do what you love, the money will follow. Okay, so I want you to take these with you, and to remember whatever it is that you need to remember for yourself today, so that you don't walk out and going back into your bad habits. What's the one thing that you really, really want to remember today? Okay, and so I'll take one of these, carry it around with you. Don't fish around for the amounts, because you can have $1 million $5 bills or one $100 bill. So just pick whatever you get. And also I want to just remind you that the acorn does not become an oak tree overnight. There is a process to things. And so if you're in the midst of a transition, the job part of it is just one part perhaps of a bigger transition or transformation that you're making. You've got to be really patient with yourself and with the process. We are fooled into thinking that everything is instant. It's not. The oak tree does not become the acorn does not become the oak tree overnight. So just trust yourself, trust the process, and go out there and be amazing, amazing, amazing at whatever it is that you do, because we need you to do that. So best of luck to you. I have plenty of information, articles that I've written about me. I have information about my private coaching, and I have group coaching next week. My book, make sure you sign up to be on my mailing list. They're going to kick us out in about 10 minutes, so I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your summer, guys.